What's going on, guys? Styx here with the Token Minorities, bringing you week 4 of season 5 of CPC Majors, and this week we will unfortunately be taking on my good buddy Aberforth and his Newcastle Umbreon. And this is unfortunate for one of two reasons. First of all, I mean, Abe's a buddy of mine, and he's also a fellow token minority, so this is going to be a team kill no matter which way it goes. And it's also unfortunate because Abe has exponentially more draft league experience and is an incredible battler, so this is going to be an interesting and very tough week this week, to say the least. Now, I mean, this is the exact same team as I had last week and will be the team that I use for the rest of the season, except for the fact that Reuniclus will be replaced by an Umbreon next week. But for the time being, we still have that Reuniclus with Scizor, Crobat, Whimsicott, Houndoom, Tentacruel, and Druddigon, all helping support the Landorus T and Kangaskhan core. Now, looking at Aberforth's team, let's go ahead and jump right into that. You can't really see the sprite of Zydog, so I'm just going to focus on the Mega Tyranitar because, I mean, I would focus on Zydog, but it's, you know, there's no sprite there, unfortunately. So this is Abe's team, and talking to multiple people, this is about as Aberforth of a draft as it gets. I mean, there's very little hazard stacking, or there's very little hazard removal, and it's just hyper offense. I mean, straightforward hyper offense. That's what it is, with a couple solid walls here and there with Rotom, Comfey, and Steelix. I mean, granted, T-Tar can be very bulky, Victini can be bulky as well, same with Serp, but overall, Abe just has a ton of threats that are going to be very difficult for me to take on. Among those threats are, first of all, Terrakion. We're having to face Z-Terrakion 2 weeks in a row. Very unlucky. Victini, just simply with its versatility, being able to run any multitude of sets, being able to just destroy things with V-Create, run mixed sets with Glaciate. That's going to be a big problem for me and my Landorus. Swellow, I pretty much don't have a Swellow resist on my team except for Scizor, but Scizor does not count as a Swellow resist because Specs Boom Burst hits incredibly hard and Heat Wave just kind of sort of okos. So Swellow, Terrakion, Victini are huge threats. Superior I can kind of deal with a little bit. Tyranitar is a big problem, specifically because once it gets to +1, if it's able to outspeed my Whimsicott, I'm not going to be able to switch in and encore it into Dragon Dance, which is what I'm assuming the T-Tar set is going to be if Abe just decides to try to completely blitz me with hyper offense and catch me off guard and just destroy all my threats. I'm predicting Tyranitar to be Dragon Dance against me because Whimsicott cannot encore it thanks to the Prankster nerf, so T-Tar is a problem. I'm going to have to try to keep that thing from being able to set up as much as possible. And then Zydog. Like, even though it's Zydog, so it's really not that, it's not as bulky as regular Zygarde, but it does have the exact same attack, and luckily my speed tiers are good enough to where I don't have to worry about it outspeeding too much and being a problem. But still, the fact that 1000 Arrows is a ridiculous move, I don't necessarily have switch-ins that can maintain longevity. I mean, Whimsicott's the best switch-in that I have, and while Whimsicott is a pretty darn good switch-in, all he has to do is just catch me on a switch with a Sludge Wave or an Iron Tail, and Whimsicott is going to be in a very bad position, particularly because I do need Whimsy to be able to support my team for the rest of the game. Like, Whimsicott does do a number to his team, so it's going to be pressured, and I can't just play recklessly with it, meaning that Zygarde will be a pretty solid problem for me. But okay, now that we've talked about his threats, what I'm noticing with his team is Whimsicott does put in work despite the fact that it can't encore Tyranitar into Dragon Dance. So Whimsicott is definitely going to be something that I bring. Mega Kang, while his speed tiers do outspeed, I mean, he's got Swellow, he's got Serp, Terrakion, Zygarde. I mean, his speed tiers are not the best for me, and he does have things like Steelix, Omastar, and Rotom. But if I can get Mega Kang to be a little bit, I guess, just take certain hits, be able to outspeed the right amount of stuff, and double priority is going to be huge with this team. But the gigantic, glaring thing that I'm noticing with Abe's team, Toxic Spikes. Toxic Spikes are going to be absolutely crucial for wearing down his threats. I mean, Rotom, unfortunately it was a Keldeo, but he pulled a bunch of last minute switches, which made me be like, I gotta rethink my team completely. But luckily Toxic Spikes still do a number on his team, so I'm definitely going to go for that. And also, Trick Room Reuniclus kind of sort of wins once again, so that's going to be definitely another win con that I'm going to look for. But I guess we can just go ahead and jump right into the team that I'm going to be bringing this week. First and foremost, we have Big Body Brawlic, the Landorus. Now, it did start off as a Rock Polish Landorus set with, I believe it was Flying EMZ, but then he picked up the Rotom, and it's just like, well, guess I can't run Rock Polish Lando anymore because Rotom pretty much is almost a complete stop to it. It has to be heavily chipped in order for Rock EMZ to be able to take it out, and then if I'm running Rock EMZ, I can't run Flying EMZ for Serp. So basically, Landorus went from a sweeping role to a supporting role, but that being said, its supporting role is absolutely essential, especially because I'm going to be going for the win with Reuniclus, and I just need tiny bits of chip damage, particularly on the Rotom, so that Reuniclus can just one-shot things when they come in. So Stealth Rock are incredibly essential, particularly for that Victini, getting it into range of Shadow Ball from Reuniclus and just chipping down the rest of his stuff as well. So that's basically going to be the set with my Lando, just be bulky to try to take hits from stuff like, I mean, Terrakion, of course, is going to be a huge problem. T-Tar, just different things. Landorus isn't going to be designed to be a wall. More so, just take one necessary hit and be able to go for Stealth Rock, go for U-Turn, go for Stone Edge, go for Earthquake, just something. I just need Landorus to mainly get up rocks, and then Rock EMZ is to just really chip down the Rotom because the rest of Abe's team is hit very hard by the combination of U-Turn and Earthquake. The HP for really, it's just max bulk. Just give it as much bulk as possible. I decided to go with 248 just to reduce the amount of damage I take from Stealth Rock by 1. Really, I don't think it'll come into play all that much. The speed is to outspeed Jolly Tyranitar because I'm actually very scared of Tyranitar. +1 Tyranitar can be a huge problem for my team. So being able to outspeed that with Landorus, just limit the Pokemon that Tyranitar can set up on will be incredibly essential for winning this game. So Landorus being able to outspeed that so that Tyranitar can't just go for a free Ice Punch on Landorus. I'll be able to outspeed and hit that thing with Earthquake is needed. Max HP, like I said, just for bulk taking hits, maybe being able to just be out of range of some 2-hit KOs, particularly Banded Zydog. Adamant or Jolly just misses out on the 2-hit KO. So that's what the max HP is for, just be able to take those hits, scare those things out, just buy myself a little bit more time to get a little bit more chip damage around and set up, and then the rest is just thrown into attack with an adamant nature to hit things as hard as possible. The King, like I said, is going to be incredibly helpful as well. The double priority against Abe's presumed HO is essential, particularly with Toxic Spikes. I mean, Fake Out into Toxic Spikes is just some free damage that I can get, free chip, and then Sucker Punch for things like, well, Victini in particular, hitting that thing super effectively, Swellow chipping that thing down. I mean, Fake Out into Sucker Punch just lets me take those things out. And then just, like I said, buying a turn with the Stealth Rock, or buying a turn with the Toxic Spikes from Tentacruel. My game plan for Abe, get Toxic Spikes up immediately. Get Rocks up when I can, but don't put myself at a detriment to get Stealth Rock up, but get Toxic Spikes up as soon as possible. Preferably even turn 1. I mean, I will be willing to sack Tentacruel just to get Toxic Spikes up. That's how much my game plan will rely on Toxic Spikes, and so Kang is just able to take advantage of those things as well. With the Kang set, I'm running Adamant Max Attack, Adamant 100%. Like, I didn't even think about running Jolly, just because the damage output from Adamant with Fake Out plus Sucker Punch double priority is actually very significant in a lot of the calcs that I had been doing. So I really wanted to go Adamant, and so I ended up doing that for Fake Out plus Sucker Punch. Low Kick is for the Tyranitar and the Steelix, just hitting those things harder. I did start out with Drain Punch to be able to heal up some damage, but in one of the mocks that I had, my opponent had brought Rocky Helmet Styx, which was able to avoid the 2-hit KO and just get a ton of damage off on my Kangaskhan and be just a general annoyance. So I switched it to Adamant Low Kick, so even though I would be taking Rocky Helmet from Styx, it would be 2-hit KO'd by Parental Bond Low Kick instead of 3-hit KO'd by Drain Punch, and then return just for some very solid damage. You'll see some synergy later. Mega Kang, with the amount of speed I have, actually the speed doesn't really come into play all that much with these synergy that I'm talking about with like Whimsicott. I have Tailwind on Whimsicott, spoilers, but Mega Kang with the combination of Low Kick and Sucker Punch can just destroy his team if I get a Tailwind up. So Return is just a very, very, very hard-hitting option, while Low Kick is normally going to be the move that I'm going to use more often than not. The attack, like I said, max attack. The HP was just kind of what was left over from the speed. And then the speed, what was that speed for? Oh, I remember. The speed was to 100% outspeed Modest Rotom. I thought, you know what, Abe's almost definitely bringing bulky Rotom against me. I mean, I have Kangaskhan and Landorus, but I thought he might get potentially cheeky and try to bring an attacking Rotom to catch me off guard with Volt Switching, Specs, Hydro Pumps, but I didn't think he would bring Timid. I thought that if he did bring Modest Rotom, which again, very, very low possibility that he would bring Rotom, but if he did and brought, well, if he, not that he brought Rotom, he's going to bring Rotom. There's a Landorus T on my team. He's 1000% bringing Rotom. But if he brought offensive Rotom as opposed to defensive, it would be Modest just to try to catch things off guard and hit things really, really hard. So Kangaskhan is meant to outspeed Rotom by 1 while maintaining some pretty solid bulk. Reuniclus is going to be my win con this game, just very, very straightforward. The Trick Room, Psychic, Shadow Ball, Focus Blast is, I mean, with Life Orb, is able to just destroy his entire team. A little bit of chip damage here and there. I mean, just once Victini into rocks, and then it's in range of Life Orb, Shadow Ball. Superior needs some extra damage. Bulky Rotom does. Same with, actually no, Steelix just drops. So really all I need is just some damage on Victini, Superior, and Rotom in order for Reuniclus to sweep. So very, very straightforward set. I actually didn't end up changing the attack or the investment in special attack and Spadef. Originally Abe had Thunderous T, and this Reuniclus was guaranteed to live, what was it? I think it was +2 Timid Thunderbolt from Thunderous T, and then be able to still set up the Trick Room, and I put 20 in there to guaranteed survive that, and also to guaranteed survive 2 Timid Thunderbolts. But I didn't end up needing it. Well, I mean, I didn't end up deciding to change it all into special attack. I was like, you know what, I like a little bit of Spadef just to take a hit from special Victini, which is kind of what I'm expecting, just like Psychic, Blue Flare, Glaciate, and then like V-Create or something like that. So mixed Victini, be able to take a special hit better from that, special hit from Superior, just change the damage calc just enough to potentially throw off some of the damage that Aberforth might be trying to do to me, and then just max HP and then close to max special attack. It didn't change any of the calcs in what I was trying to knock out, so I just decided to roll with it. Crobat is just kind of my, okay, I need something to outspeed Superior, Terrakion, Swellow, Victini. Basically, I just need something to outspeed all his threats and keep him from just outspeeding and destroying me. So Bulky Bat was kind of what I decided to go for. The speed is to outspeed Swellow, guaranteed max speed Swellow. The attack is to Oko Swellow after rocks, and so basically the attack gives me the calc that, so Swellow I would think would speed creep Whimsicott. If Abe decided to speed creep something and not just go 252, 252, he would speed creep Whimsicott with Swellow. So what this attack does is it gives me a guaranteed Oko on Swellow, speed creeping Whimsicott, and the rest of the HP going in, and the rest of the EVs going into HP, allows me to KO that 100% with Brave Bird after rocks. Toxic is just to Toxic Rotom, basically. That's really it, because Rotom is pretty much the general switch-in to Crobat. Like, looking at Abe's team, like Rotom 100% switches into everything except for like Nasty Plot, Life Orb, Rotom. So being able to Toxic that, chip it down, put it in range of Reuniclus is absolutely essential. Roost is to just be a little bit more bulky. Taunt is to keep Tyranitar from setting up on me, because Tyranitar is another thing that can easily switch into Crobat, so I need to be a little bit cautious of that, and Taunt allows me to keep it, like I said, from setting up on me, maybe get a little bit more toxic damage, switch into rocks damage, etc., etc. Charty Berry is to guaranteed live a hit from Terrakion, like Scarf Terrak could be huge for me, and also this lets me take a hit from, I think it's non-adamant T-Tar. It was something like that. Basically, Charty Berry just lets me take a hit from either Terrakion or Mega T-Tar in the right situation and still get off a Toxic or Brave Bird, because Scarf Terrak, once Landorus goes down, could be a huge problem for me. Crobat would allow me to be like, okay, taking the hit, getting off a Brave Bird, and now maybe Kang can clean it up with Fake Out plus Sucker Punch or something to that effect. So yeah, just bulky bat, speed to outspeed Swallow, attack to Oko, Swallow, like I said, after rocks, and then the rest just thrown into HP for some bulk, and then Tentacruel is going to be my actually dedicated lead. It's funny, you don't normally see Tentacruel as a lead, because, I mean, it's usually there for spinning late game, or mid game, early game. It's basically there in the back for spinning once your opponent gets up hazards, so it's not necessarily used until your opponent gets up hazards. But in this case, Toxic Spikes are so incredibly crucial to my strategy that I'm leading Tentacruel. This set is designed to survive everything that Abe can throw at me, except for I think it's a modest Specs. Victini's Psychic would be about the only thing on Abe's team that could Oko my Tentacruel and keep me from getting my Toxic Spikes up. So that's exactly what this set is used for. Shuka is for like Mega T-Tar, Zygarde, Terrakion leads that would try to Earthquake me and keep me from getting my Toxic Spikes up. Rapid Spin is just in case he decides to like lead Omastar or something like that and try to blitz me with hazards and then exert pressure. Tentacruel can be like, okay, slow down a little bit, let me just spin those away, we can go from there. Scald is just good coverage, and Sludge Bomb is for heavy damage on those things that resist Scald, like Rotom and Superior, and then also the added chance to poison Rotom is definitely necessary. The speed is to outspeed Jolly Tyranitar. The Spadef and max HP, like I said, is to guaranteed live everything. I think it was guaranteed live Timid Specs Victini Psychic, or at least give me a very, very good shot. I think it was to live Timid Specs Victini's Psychic, and then the rest was just thrown into defense to take hits as well as possible. And Shuka, like I said, for the ground attacks, particularly 1,000 arrows from Zygarde, 10 that could otherwise potentially keep me from getting up my Toxic Spikes immediately. And finally, we have Aura Bomb, the Whimsicott, with Moonblast and Energy Ball, because that's all the coverage I need to do heavy damage to his team. Yes, Victini does resist this combination, but I plan on having at least Toxic Spikes up, if not rocks, very, very early. And so even if Victini wants to come in, it's going to have to switch in on rocks, get poisoned by Toxic Spikes, take 12.5% from that, and whatever hit I decide to go for with Whimsicott, like Moonblast or Energy Ball. So Victini is guaranteed taking at least 37% on switch into Whimsicott. So I was like, you know what, I really don't need any additional coverage for Victini, because that thing's going to get worn down so fast, it's insane. So Moonblast and Energy Ball is all I need. Energy Ball over Giga Drain so that I can hit the Rotom for maximum damage. Giga Drain, I really don't need the recovery for anything. I just want to hit things very hard. Moonblast spam against his team is incredibly good as well. Encore is to keep any setup sweepers from going ham. If there's one thing Abe likes to do, it's setup. And Jolt told me that, everybody that I talked to told me that, so Encore is a way of dealing with that. And then I went back and forth over Tailwind, U-Turn, and Memento in the last spot. Well, I guess it's technically the first spot on this set, but either way, that was the last spot that I solidified. It would have been Memento if the Prankster nerf didn't happen. So basically what this keeps from happening is my Whimsicott being one-on-one against Tyranitar, him setting up to +1, knocking out my Whimsicott and sweeping my team. Tailwind allows me to get a Tailwind up, outspeed the Tyranitar with whatever I want to come in. Even if he sets up again, then Whimsicott is able to outspeed it that next turn, and then this Pixie Plate Moonblast does guaranteed 2-hit KO Tyranitar after rocks and damage from poison from Toxic Spikes. So that's exactly what this set is designed to do. Just keep Tyranitar from being able to run through me and take advantage of the Prankster nerf. And then also Tailwind is just kind of a last ditch, okay, he has a lot of fast stuff left. I have a weakened Landorus or a weakened Kangaskhan, and I just need some speed to be able to deal with that. That's where Whimsicott can come in and just be like, okay, Tailwind, I'm super fast. What are you going to do? And I have 2 to 3 turns of just absolutely blasting whatever Abe has left. And so that's the goal with Tailwind, is just kind of be an insurance against his potential Scarfmons or Tyranitar. Now, this does seem kind of counterintuitive with Trick Room, but obviously it would come down to which mode I would decide to go in late game, and just depends on what Abe brings and what ends up being my win con. I obviously wouldn't use Tailwind and Trick Room in the same match, but this just gives me more ways to win against Abe's presumed hyper offense. So this is the team I'm going to go in with, and let's just go ahead and jump right onto the battle. Alrighty, we have got this solid battle replay right here, and immediately looking at Abe's team, it was pretty much what I expected. I mean, you have Victini, very obviously brought Terrakion, Zydog, Mega Tyranitar, Rotom, and Swellow. So, I mean, this was very much what I figured Abe would bring if he decided to go very offensive. Other potential brings that I thought would be, I mean, Superior, just because, I mean, it's Superior, but at the same time, I have Crobat and Whimsicott, and Tentacruel to a lesser extent. So maybe Superior, he thought, didn't have the best matchup, so he decided not to bring it. But I mean, regardless, the team he brought is absolutely terrifying. My priority, like I said, is going to be getting up those Toxic Spikes so that I can wear down 4 of his 6 Mons, and then also get up rocks so that Victini and Swellow and Rotom get chipped to where Reuniclus can just win, and I see plenty of opportunities for Reuniclus to set up and win against potentially Rotom, Terrakion, depending on the sets and what they lock themselves into. Well, if they are choiced, that is, Zydog and Swellow. So there are opportunities for Reuniclus. I just have to get into the proper situation. So we're just going to jump into this battle. I'm going to lead with my Tentacruel and get up my spikes. Get up my Toxic Spikes immediately. I don't care if I get hit by this Rotom. I mean, that damage reveals to me that's probably bulky, but regardless, I am going to leave my Tentacruel in right here to actually scout out the Zydog set. So I get up my Toxic Spikes immediately, which is great, and take a good hit, but not an insane hit. So the only way his Zydog can knock me out is if he's Choice Banded. Jolly Choice Band has a very low chance to knock me out, so if he's Adamant Banded, it looks to be probably more of a guaranteed KO. But either way, I get to scout out this Zydog set, and if it's not banded, then Tentacruel does live, and I do get to get a Scald off as well. And okay, Zydog's already poisoned, and I do eat my Shukaberry, and I get knocked out, which confirms that even because I was knocked out without a crit, Landorus will be able to take this hit. Guaranteed live 2 of them and get up my rocks, so I'm able to get up my hazards very, very early. And yeah, confirms that this Zygarde is banded, so I don't have to worry about Dragon Dancing up on me. And he is going to go into his Rotom again, but I decided I don't want Landorus to take a hit, even just to U-turn out, so I am just going to go immediately into Whimsicott and fire off an Energy Ball as he brought in Rotom. I did win that double switch. So Rotom, I'm pretty sure Abe took a little bit of time on that turn. I'm pretty sure he was calcing Giga Drain, seeing if Rotom could live a rock switch in. But, I mean, I could be wrong, but either way, Energy Ball puts it in range of rocks, which is absolutely gigantic, meaning that Landorus and Kang are huge threats coming in later in the game, although he still does have the Terrakion and all of his threats as well. Meanwhile, I'm down a Tentacruel, and he does have a free switch into Victini right here, so basically, I just have to pick a sack. Victini is inside, Whimsicott is not going to be able to hit it, and Whimsicott is way too valuable, so I decide to just sack off my Landorus. I mean, it's nice to have, but it's not essential. Whimsicott has a speed tier that's so much really so much more necessary, and same with everything else. So Landorus just gets sacked off. I go into my Crobat, and I'm just going to fire off a Brave Bird right here as a 0 drawback play if he goes into Tyranitar or Terrakion to resist it, or just to take it. Terrakion doesn't resist, then they do get poisoned. He is going to go Tyranitar right here, and I'm afraid of him setting up, so I'm just immediately going to taunt, knowing that I do have the Charty Berry, meaning I can live a Stone Edge from Mega T-Tar from that range, and hopefully I can catch him off. And he actually goes for Pursuit onto my Crobat. So I guess he was just trying to chip it down, as he does see that Crobat is standing in the way of his Mons potentially sweeping later. So that was a good play on his part to try to catch me, but I just could not afford to let T-Tar set up at all. And right here, I am going to predict him to predict my Roost and try to go for a Stone Edge, or I just know Kang can take the hit. So I'm going to go into my Mega Kang. He unfortunately gets the crit, which sucks a little bit, but on the bright side, right here, Kang will just get a kill with Low Kick, and that's basically what this match is going to turn into. Is just going to be bringing in of threats and trading kills. I am going to go for the Low Kick right there. Doesn't quite take out the Zygarde, but the Poison will take it out. So Mama already doing some very solid stuff, scaring that Tyranitar out and getting rid of a gigantic threat to my team. But speaking of threats, Terrakion is inside, so I am just going to go into Crobat right here to try to take the hit or whatever. Really, I was just sacking Crobat so that I would have a safe switch into Whimsicott, because at this point, if I get rid of one more Mon, I can Tailwind up with Whimsicott, and then Kangaskhan can just win with a combination of Low Kick and Return. So that actually is kind of looking like my win con right here. But at the same time, I mean, I still have Reuniclus in the back to be able to Trick Room up and sweep. So I have 2 potential win cons right here. It's just a matter of getting myself in a position to where I can safely set up those win cons and go for them. And he does go for the Poison Jab, so I mean, I look really good for quote-unquote predicting that. And I am just going to Roost up right here as he goes for the Stealth Rocks. That's a little bit annoying. But right here, I think, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure that I can take a choice, not a Choice Band, wow. I know I can take a Stone Edge from that Terrakion because I am, because he's not Choice Banded, and I do have my Charty Berry still intact. So right here, he goes back into his T-Tar, and again, I can't let this thing set up at all. I am just going to taunt it, keep it from setting up. Crobat should be able to take a hit at this range because, like I said, my Charty Berry is still intact. I've stayed in on Tyranitar and Terrakion 3 times at this point, and my Charty Berry still hasn't been used. He does go for the Ice Beam, but that does pretty much nothing to Bat, so Bulky Bat is putting in a lot of work, and I am just going to go for the Brave Bird right here. I kind of predicted him to be able, or I kind of predicted him to predict my Roost and go for Earthquake because he revealed that his Mega T-Tar had that already. So I was just like, you know what, I'm going to try to catch him, not predicting this probably won't kill, but it ends up killing. So I mean, hey, good for you, Crobat. Clearly the attack investment actually ends up paying off. And he goes into the Terrakion right here. I'm assuming he has the quick attack, but regardless, I'm going to go for Roost, see if I can just get some health back, which I end up doing as he goes through the close combat. I'm assuming, I'm actually not sure what he was doing. Maybe he was predicting that I had Stone Edge, and then now I know Brave Bird will be able to pick off the Terrakion at this point, so I'm able to take that thing out, -1, and then he goes into Victini. Now, right here, I was actually kind of worried. So what I thought he would do is go into Swellow, let my Crobat sack itself to its Brave Bird recoil, then I would go into Whimsicott and set up the Tailwind so that Kangaskhan wins, also priority from Kangaskhan wins, but either way, Crobat, I was assuming he'd go Swellow so that Crobat would die, but he actually goes into Victini, and I'm able to pick that thing off and not quite die to recoil. I guess he was just banking off the fact that my Crobat didn't have enough HP to live Brave Bird recoil from taking out the Victini, but the Rocks and Toxic Spikes came in gigantic for this game. Those 2 won me the game. So Tentacruel and Landorus, both of them may have only gotten 1 kill, but those 2 put in so incredibly much work. And then the Swellow comes in the situation that I actually EV'd my Crobat specifically for ends up happening. Not sure what his spread was on Swellow, but it doesn't matter. I do outspeed, take the knockout, and while Crobat does go down right there to his own recoil, Crobat for the win indeed. Able to take 4 knockouts when it originally was just intended as a way of not getting swept. I mean, Crobat was not put on this team and designed with the intention of sweeping or getting multiple kills. In fact, it was designed not to really get any kills at all, just to keep Abe from being able to sweep me with things like Tyranitar, Superior, Swellow, Zygarde, stuff like that. And lo and behold, just Brave Bird turned out to be enough when coupled with Stealth Rock and Toxic Spikes. I didn't even have to use Reuniclus. I mean, Reuniclus still could have definitely won and probably would have won if I prioritized setting it up, but I didn't need to because Crobat put in such incredible work in this matchup. So Crobat, the MVP of this match indeed. Abe, even though it ended up being a 3-0, this was a lot closer and more volatile of a match than it looked like. So that was an incredibly tense game. I was very, very nervous, had to think out my plays strategically, and in the end, my Toxic Spikes and Stealth Rock, the fact that I got them up very early and prioritized getting them up to the point of letting Tentacruel go down and Landorus taking a big hit where I wouldn't be able to take hits later, ended up being completely worth it. So yeah, we've won our second Majors game and off to 4-0. Let's hope that maybe we can go 5-0, knock on wood. But regardless, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.